Hi, Timothy Carlson here, and today we go back to the Dragon Ball franchise. We're going to be taking a look at an early DVD release of one of the television specials, that being The History of Trunks. This was originally released in Japan on TV in 1993. In America, this was marketed more as a movie. The initial DVD for this came out in the year 2000. This is the original DVD release. Subsequent DVDs of this film have been cropped by Funimation and given that less than stellar remastering treatment a lot of them got. I'll do a quick unboxing, talk about the special a little, and let you know what I think. Nice close-up of our heroes there, Trunks and Gohan. Trunks is very strategically positioned in that photo to avoid a certain spoiler from the movie. I won't mention that here. And here they're talking about how you get the English version and a Japanese version subtitled in English. I mean, back then, having both audio tracks was a pretty big deal, so they really promoted that heavily. I, for one, was really happy to get Dragon Ball Z that was in Japanese with English subtitles because it was a lot more accurate than the dubs that Funimation was cranking out at the time. Back of the package has a summary as well as some photos and legalese and credits and all that. Here's the disc itself, pretty much the same art as the cover. In Dragon Ball Z, future Trunks makes his first appearance when he comes from the future and kills Frieza and King Cold, and then, of course, in that process reveals that he's a Super Saiyan from the future. And this is the story of where he came from. I'm going to read the summary of this that's on the package. When Goku dies of a deadly virus, it seems like the end of the world. But the powerful master's passing proves to be merely a presage of the horrible tragedies that are on the way. When the two androids appear and start destroying the great cities of the earth, the planet is plunged into darkness and its inhabitants are living in fear. But there is one last hope. Goku's son, Gohan, is now a man, and though outnumbered by the demonic androids, he does have a special young teenager named Trunks on his side. As Gohan trains Trunks, it seems like the world is collapsing around them. Can they put a stop to the horrible progression of evil? This is the story of the future that never was. And of course, with so many fans of future Trunks, people getting to see his backstory in a television special was a pretty exciting thing at the time. This story was adapted as a special chapter in the manga, but the anime version is much more elaborate and takes a few liberties. Personally, I think that the anime version of this is superior to the manga version because it does flesh things out. And there are a few minor changes made for dramatic effect. I won't go too much into the spoiler specifics there. But it is interesting to get a look at the time that future Trunks lived in, what he went through, and how he got to be where he was, as well as how he became a Super Saiyan for the first time. The TV specials of Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion, are actually quite a bit better than the movie because they actually fit into the story. They're not just random side stories that couldn't fit into the timeline. They're pretty well thought out, pretty dramatic. This and the other one, Bardock, the father of Goku, are both absolutely excellent. I do have to recommend the Japanese version here over the English version. The English version uses a lot of songs by popular artists, like in this case, they had some stuff by Bootsy Collins, Buckethead, Slaughter, and Dream Theater. Now, some of those artists I absolutely love, but they really don't have a place in Dragon Ball Z. And Funimation did this for years with releases of the movies. I think one of the, I think some of the other theatrical movies had Disturbed and Deftones in the initial releases. Again, artists I respect and admire, but let's keep them away from Dragon Ball. The Japanese version, of course, tends to be a little more subdued and low-key and emotional, whereas in the English dub, you have all these electric guitars blaring, way more dialogue. One thing that the English version is infamous for is when a character is not on screen or has their back turned, they like to add extra dialogue, and that's just sometimes less is more, and the original Japanese version is, in my opinion, the superior version of the two. Picture quality-wise, you can tell this isn't exactly a restored disc or anything, but it is in the proper 4:3 ratio, unlike all of those crop discs that Funimation released later. And one minor complaint, this one doesn't have the eye catch sequences. They just sort of fade together where those would be. The later versions, although cropped, actually did reincorporate the eye catch sequences for better or worse. There actually are a few bonus features on here. There's that World of Dragon Ball Z featurette. I did a review and a recap of that a while back. I'll include a link to that up above if you're curious about checking that out. There's some trailers for other sagas of Dragon Ball Z, as well as even a vintage commercial for the Funimation Dragon Ball Z store that existed at the time. I have to say, if you do want to own History of Trunks, I would hunt this disc down because it hasn't been cropped. I mean, again, I would stick to the original Japanese version that's on here. I think the later releases of this actually get rid of a lot of that popular music just because I'm guessing Funimation doesn't have the rights to it anymore. In either event, if you want to watch the History of Trunks, I say get this version if you can find it. I found this on eBay for about $25. It's out of print, and that's not too terrible of a price for this. And it's easily one of my favorite of all the Dragon Ball movies, specials, etc. And any fan of the franchise should own it. Where would you rank the History of Trunks in terms of Dragon Ball Z movies and specials? Do you own this DVD? Do you own one of the later DVD releases? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos. And give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.